In this video, I'm going over the most pathetic characters in the Pokemon anime. I'll be going over their traits, like having an annoying personality, bad growth, wasted potential, or just being there for the plot, as well as rating them on a scale from 1 through 5, 1 being the mildly irritating, and 5 being the absolute worst, which I'm saving for last. The reason I'm looking at the anime's worst characters is because I wanted to add my own ideas to make these characters even better than how Pokemon wrote them. Let's start off with Sylon. If you don't recognize him, there's probably a reason for that, and that's because Sylon was a very forgettable character. This is due to the fact he didn't really have an impact on anyone around him, nor was he doing all that much himself. Sylon's job throughout the entirety of Black and White was just to give us a little knowledge on Pokemon, be the comic relief, and fill in that Brock role, and for a Brock replacement, he wasn't all that good. So my solution for Sylon's character is to either show him off more, actually reaching his goals, or make him super entertaining like Brock, Clement, and Kiawe. Sylon's overall rating is a 1 out of 5 on the pathetic score, due to missed potential. He was funny at times, just not as much as his competition. Another character who could have been so much more, but fell flat, or in this case round, is Sophocles. While I also don't hate on Sophocles as other Pokemon fans do, I will admit he's kinda garbage in Sun and Moon. Not in a literal way, he just didn't do all that much. I'm sure most people here don't even know his goal. It's okay, I didn't know either until I looked it up to remember that, oh yeah, he wants to be an inventor. Sound familiar? Yeah, we had the same thing with Clement, except unlike Clement, Sophocles wasn't making robots that can battle in gyms, wasn't making any progress towards his goals, wasn't challenging Ash to a really cool fight with Goodra. No, he was just there. He was featured in that one really cool, or I guess sad episode with the Minior in which he played a big part in. Yet outside of that, he really didn't do much. So why not have him be a doctor inventor? You can use that Minior episode as a perfect gateway into trying to help those who are potentially dying by creating new inventions to help save people in Pokemon. That would be so much better than whatever his goal was. He probably gotta lose that weight though. Not a good look if you want to be in the health field. Overall, Sophocles is Clement if you remove the character arc and kept the punchlines. His rating is a 2 out of 5. Next is Tracy, a character which I'll go over briefly since he wasn't total garbage, but I don't really like his character because he replaced Brock during the Orange Islands. Yes, is this a bit of a nitpick? Sure, but I can't lie, Tracy is a whole lot of nothing. All he does is draw Pokemon, which isn't a very interesting goal. Yes, we've had worse, but Tracy's real problem is the fact that he's the opposite of entertaining. Like, if there was a series about Tracy, we wouldn't watch it, because we'd all be asleep. So the plan to fix Tracy is very simple. Make him the worst drawer ever, that when he shows Ash his sketch of a Pokemon, he uses self-destruct. Tracy's overall score is a 2 out of 5, not because we don't like him, but because he was the one to replace Brock. Tobias actually made it here since the only reason he exists is to block Ash from winning the Sinnoh League. He comes in with full, well, probably full, legendary team. His first Pokemon is Darkrai, and when that gets defeated, he just throws out a Latios. So if you want to call anyone pathetic on this list, it should be the literal hacker of the anime, Tobias. Like, there's no way Pokemon made this character with the intention of having him be a good, fair rival, since he's anything but fair. So how would I change this? Well, I'd start by introducing Tobias earlier in the series, flesh out his character more, maybe show why and how he has a legendary team, then have him just be intertwined with the story and plot in some way, because his character truly has a lot of potential. He's got a lot of aura, but the way Pokemon used him was just plain dumb. That's why Tobias's overall score is a 2 out of 5. He only exists for the plot. A character who really relied on the plot is Cameron. Again, could have been a great character, as could all these characters in this video really, but this guy sucks. He's so dumb that he outdumbs even Ash and steals his plot to win an unwinnable situation. What I mean is, during Ash's battle with Cameron in the Unova League, Cameron halfway in the battle realizes he only brought 5 Pokemon to a 6-on-6 battle.
Uh-oh, it looks like Cameron mistakenly thought he only needed 5 Pokemon for a full battle!
Which should have given Ash a huge advantage over his opponent, but somehow, the stingy little red bandana boy with his broken Riolu/Lucario walks all over Ash's team while is tanking 50 shots from Pikachu in the process. But apparently that's not enough, so he ends up knocking out Ash out of the league league, losing to a trainer who didn't even remember to bring 6 Pokemon. Yes, is this Ash's fault? Sure, but the writers were the ones who wanted Ash to lose to a trainer with 1 less Pokemon than they should have had, and it's not like this trainer was even good anyway. Cameron isn't bad, but come on, he didn't even have a Lucario until later in the battle and was down Pokemon before the battle even started. Ash was even winning up until Riolu activates God mode when it evolves into Lucario, so I guess my suggestion to Pokemon would be if they wanted Ash to lose to 5 Mons, at least make him a good battler, not this rando who shows up towards the end of the series who's literally mentally challenged. Cameron's overall score is a 3 out of 5. Pretty irritating if you ask me, but not rage-inducing enough as the next character from Unova. And that's of course gonna be Trip. Yep. You probably already knew he was going to be here somewhere on this video because literally nobody likes Trip. You see, unlike Paul, Trip doesn't learn anything by the end of the series. He starts out as a douchebag and ends up staying as a douchebag. We also can't forget the infamous imprint that Trip Snivy left on Ash's Pikachu. Although, that's not exactly why I dislike Trip's character. Actually, my main complaint stems from his battle between Ash and the Unova League, where this is by far the worst battle I've ever seen in the entire Pokemon anime. Why? Well, instead of Trip being the main event for Ash, they get matched up right in the first round. They can't even have a 3-on-3 battle because the first round is only 1-on-1. And if you know anything about TV shows, it's that whoever Ash faces in the first battle of an important tournament, chances are the protagonist is gonna win. Since if he didn't, then that arc would be wrapped up pretty early. So not only did we know Ash was gonna beat Trip, the main rival of Unova, before the battle even started, but when it does start, Trip is literally superior, no pun intended, in every possible metric to Ash in this fight. Yet Ash with one combo move from Pikachu, one-shot superior. How? By far the worst written battle in Pokemon. After this, we never see Trip again. There's no final conclusion to Trip's character. He's just gone. So my fix isn't much, just make it so Trip is in the finale for Ash instead of Cameron, and boom, there you go. This would have been infinitely better. Trip's score is a 3 out of 5. Only reason he's not higher is because he's just Ash's rival, and Ash had other rivals in the series, thankfully. Next is a character who I've talked about a ton in the past, and that's one of, if not the most controversial characters in the anime, Go. Go is Ash's dual protagonist in Pokemon Journeys, who was notorious for causing drama in the Pokemon anime fandom. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but the main ones are him catching legendaries with normal Pokeballs, catching 3rd stage mons without even battling them, taking up all the screen time, giving battling advice to Ash, acting bratty and sometimes selfish, being a walking Pokemon Go advertisement, and lastly, having the worst trainer goal in history, which was to catch every Pokemon in existence so he's worthy enough to catch Mew. Even Pokemon knew this was a stupid idea, which is why they changed his goal halfway through the series with Project Mew, where he drops the idea of catching all Pokemon to just pursue Mew, and then that also turned out to be not interesting. So Go's real problem was ultimately his goal of catching as many Pokemon as he can, and just the way Pokemon went about it. Like, he could have easily used Great Balls and Ultra Balls to help catch stronger Pokemon, as well as taking some time to weaken them in battle, but instead he just threw Pokeballs in every direction to catch as many Mons as he could. Otherwise, his personality isn't terrible. Go's goal and execution was just super bad, leading to many fans despising his character. It also didn't help that he was taking more screen time than the actual main character of the show, Ash. Go's score is a 4 out of 5, for being super missed potential and annoying to watch most of the time, but that's nothing compared to the next character. When you think of annoying characters in Pokemon, you might think of Gary, maybe Paul, Barry, Iris, but the worst of the worst when it comes to on-screen annoyance has to be Max. I mean, this guy single-handedly drags the entire Hoenn series down with how bad his character is. For the entire series, this little nerd just brags about how he's so knowledgeable about Pokemon, yet has absolutely no experience or practice of his own. He's there to press Ash about fighting while having done nothing himself. He also doesn't have many redeemable features unless you include the Jirachi Wishmaker movie, where it looked like Max got some actual thought put into his character. But other than that, he was really just annoying for the sake of being annoying. But that's just because he's a kid. Yeah, if you still use that excuse, I don't know what to tell you. Max single-handedly made Hoenn a much harder watch. My solution is, let's make Max raise a Pokemon like Bonnie did with the Denny and Squishy. That way, he can work on his battling, and when he tells Ash he sucks for not using the 180 Ball Spin 3000 from outer space, Ash can then reply back with, yeah, well, let's see how you do against Brandon's Regice, Regirock, and Registeel. Max's overall score is a 4 out of 5. Could be worse, but he did at least get development throughout the series. but the same can't be said for this next upcoming character. First honorable mention that almost made it in this video is Iris, who I would say isn't a fan favorite amongst most people. Because, well, she wasn't exactly a calm, chill traveling companion, nor did she do a lot during her series. Before Journeys, I could see why most people didn't like her. Iris in Black and White was pretty immature. She would always call Ash a kid while being a kid herself, and talking down to him like Max or Misty would. Iris also didn't exactly get the most development, especially compared to her in-game counterpart who was in the Elite Four and even a champion in Black and White too, and her anime counterpart didn't really do that good in comparison. By the end of the series, sure, Iris grew as a character, but not into a super strong, fierce dragon master like in the games, until Journeys comes around to basically fix her character. As seen off-screen, she became the champion of the Unova region, which I really wish we saw more of during Black and White, but I'm glad we got to see that growth in Journeys. While some still hate Iris and her annoying catchphrase,
"You're such a little kid,"
I never really got too bothered by that as much as others, which is why I feel she wasn't bad enough for this list, since at the very least, Iris grew a ton from Unova to Journeys. Now let's actually look at the character I've been saving for last who didn't in fact grow. Who is that, you may ask? Well, it's Chloe. It's Chloe. If you want to talk about pathetic characters in the Pokemon anime, this is the poster child. Where do I even start with Chloe? Her beginning looked promising. When she was introduced to us in Pokemon Journeys after Ash and Go, Chloe was a shy girl who liked Pokemon, but not enough to be a trainer or even own one. Chloe was the daughter of the professor in this series, but she also didn't really like that stuff either, and had no clue what she wanted to do. Basically, starting out as a blank canvas. Do you want to know what Pokemon painted on that blank canvas? Well, it would have actually been better if they never drew anything on that canvas, because Pokemon decided to draw an Eevee. No! Why? Not another female companion with an Eevee. Something more original, please. But unlike the past Pokegirls, this trainer who eventually catches an Eevee only focuses on that Eevee for the rest of the series. Like, Chloe's whole personality is Eevee. She's just that Eevee trainer, and her Eevee isn't even interesting. Chloe's character growth consists of Eevee looking at what other Eevee evolutions it could evolve into. Spoiler alert, it never even evolves. She doesn't battle, she has no other Pokemon, she has no rivals, and only travels with Ash and Go on occasion. Her best episodes is when she hangs around with other cool characters like Serena who actually have development. There's just nothing of substance here. Nothing whatsoever. She's not even annoying. Like, at least Max can be entertaining. Chloe can't even act annoying, she just exists. And you know what's crazy? Chloe's character has the easiest fix of them all. All you have to do is remove her Eevee. That's it. Then she would never have a reason to travel with Ash and Go, and we wouldn't be worrying about the most pathetic character in all of Pokemon. But no! The writers/higher-ups insisted there must be a Pokegirl with an Eevee. Chloe's overall rating is a 5 out of 5. The worst character in Pokemon hands down. No argument needs to be held. This character has absolutely no redeeming qualities, none. Now that we know the most pathetic characters in all of Pokemon, what would it look like if every character was ranked from worst to best? Well, if you want to see that video, I made one ranking all of Ash's companions right here. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!